Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nerd Herders. My name is Nick.
I'm Rich.
I'm Mitchell.
Mitchell, if you didn't watch the first episode of the week, go back and watch it. What are you doing? But Mitchell's here because he home brews. He brews beers, and we're the Over a Beer channel. And so we tried it. Right now we're drinking what?
This is the Reddish Hood.
Reddish Hood.
It's a Mosaic Red Ale. By me.
By him. And if you want to know more about this beer, you can watch the previous episode of the show. But what we're going to do today is besides drinking your beer, we're going to tell you guys what we've been up to. So, Mitchell, you're the guest. What have you been up to?
Yeah. I've been up to a bunch of stuff. I think one thing I wanted to talk about was board games, specifically, because you guys, I don't think, have talked about that very much, but I like board games.
Almost.
I don't think we've
Almost
ever
never.
talked about board games. I enjoy board games. I just never play them very often.
Okay. Yeah, it's tough. You need like the right group of people for
Yeah.
it sometimes, especially depending on the game that you want to play. But one that I just finished last week was pretty cool. Have either of you played Pandemic?
I've seen.
I have not. I know nothing about it.
I've seen.
So Pandemic is a cooperative game. You have up to 4 people trying to cure diseases all across the world. 4 different diseases. A lot of ways you can lose. It's a pretty hard game. Yeah, but it's fun. It's
Cool.
Good. You work together.
So, when you say that you completed it last week, what do you mean?
So this specific version of Pandemic is a little different. It's called Pandemic Legacy. And there's this one guy who made a game called Risk Legacy a couple years ago, where you, instead of just playing one game of Risk and then it just being over, you play a bunch of games of Risk, and each one that you play changes the game. So the actions that you take throughout the game change the next game that you play. So you play like a whole campaign through this. And Pandemic Legacy is a little bit different because it's a cooperative game, and you're trying to cure diseases and everything. So you finish one game, and that changes the board. Some cities might be rioting if you let them have too many disease outbreaks. You might establish permanent bases where you can research cures for the diseases that will help you next time. And you go through this whole campaign. It's anywhere from, you play over the course of a year, so January to December, and up to 2 games each month. So if you lose a game, then you have to redo that month and try to win it again.
So you've been playing this since January.
Well, it's not real time.
Okay, see, I wasn't. I
Well,
was
so
sure.
I mean, basically, when people are watching this,
You could
it's
play it real.
December.
Yeah.
You could play it real time. But in this case, I think we did 2 games a night, so we started first week of October and finished last week, so it took us
Wow.
a couple weeks. We ended up so since you play 12 months, and if you lose a month, first month, you have to repeat it. You can play anywhere between 12 and 24 games of this to try to finish it. We ended up winning 12 times and losing 3 times, so we played 15 games total.
That's intense.
It's good. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We played with 3 people. So.
That is pretty cool. I've seen that game. I've seen it at like Barnes and Noble. It always looked cool. Yeah, we haven't talked much about board games. I think maybe we brought them up, or we just had a conversation in the past where it's like, I always feel like sometimes like some of these more elaborate games, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like you'll get them with the anticipation of people will say that they'll want to play, and then they just won't.
That's what
play,
I always
and
do,
then
like,
it
I-
just sits there.
I've got stuff at home where I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to play this. People sit there, and then nobody.
Yeah.
They just sit there and collect dust for.
Well,
ever.
the nice thing about the legacy system, a lot of people don't like it because the actions that you take change the board. There are some things where if one of your characters dies, the game instructs you to rip up their character card and throw it away instead of just like
wow.
marking it down. Yeah. So there's a tangibility to it where you're actually feeling everything. But
Can't you just put it to the side in an envelope.
You could, but it's not quite the same. And it does mean that if you're ripping up cards and the stickers and changes you make to the board, it means that there's not too much replayability outside once you're done with the campaign. But at the same time, we got 15 games of Pandemic in, where we've probably played, even though the friend I've played with, David, we've had the game for maybe 5 years or so.
Wow.
We haven't played 15 games of Pandemic in that time frame. We might have played 10. So we played more games of Pandemic in, of course,
Right.
2 months.
So you get
than
your
we
money's
have.
worth with it.
Exactly.
So this guy did Risk and this. Are there other legacy?
Yeah, he has a new one out that I might try to get called Seafall, and instead of being based on an existing game like Risk or Pandemic, this one's built from the ground up. And I've heard mixed things about it, but I'd still like to take a look.
Interesting. Very cool. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty sweet. Have you done any, legendary versions of board games? I mean, this isn't like playing like a long game of Monopoly. This is like hours and hours. Like how long does one game of Pandemic take? Roughly, if everything goes,
Yeah, Pandemic's a little interesting because there are some bad ways to lose, especially in basic games. So they could be as short as 20 to 30 minutes. I don't think we had any that went that short though. So it's probably about an hour on average.
Okay.
So roughly like 15 to 20 hours it took you to do this.
Yeah.
A day of your life.
Yeah.
There you go. Have you ever spent a day of your life playing any board game? Let us know. Rich, what have you been up to?
I saw a couple of movies. I think I've only seen 2. I don't remember. I don't remember. Correct me if there's something
that your life.
Well, I know, but if there's something that I posted about that I'm forgetting. I know I saw Bad Santa 2 and I saw Edge of 17.
I did know that you saw those as
Okay. Well, I didn't know I didn't know if there's something else I posted about that I forgot.
well. I'll think about it. What did you think of those movies?
Bad Santa 2, I mostly enjoyed. It's not great. It's when it works, it really works. I think it's at its worst though when it's trying to recapture moments and things of the first one. Like there are little references and stuff they make and they just kind of fall flat or they don't work. And there's like a whole sequence that is trying to kind of recapture the spirit of the first one and it just doesn't. It's not bad, but it's just unnecessary. There are moments that feel like they were sort of shot and stitched in last minute, where you can tell that they seem like they're just sort of reading lines versus like actually having a conversation, or weird lack of attention to detail of things where they'll just be like in a coffee shop or whatever, just screaming at each other and there's nobody reacting to it. Whereas like you saw a lot of that in the first one where they would, be at the mall, the food court or whatever at the mall, and people around there would be like, how are these horrible people like saying these things? But I think it's one of the better like too late comedy sequels we've gotten recently.
And we've gotten a lot of those.
Yeah.
This trend of Hollywood, and maybe I don't think they always did this. I think this is the newer trend of these comedies specifically that come out, sequels that come out 10, 15 or longer years after the original, and that's not really how comedy works. Comedy is frequently very of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when you try and do the same type of comedy years later, like you think of like Dumb and Dumber 2, did not work.
Yeah.
Zoolander 2, did not work. I mean, Dana liked it, but they got to stop doing this overall. Mm-hmm. This bombed. Didn't do well at all. Like we were talking about it before, like I don't think there's any comedy that would work if you made a sequel from 10, 15 years ago.
No.
There aren't many comedy sequels that are good.
No.
It's
Without
very
waiting
rare.
10 years. I feel like even when they did, like when I think of comedy sequels that I enjoy, I think of like Wayne's World 2, Austin Powers 2. But
even like Wayne's World 2 isn't looked fondly upon.
Right, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And like Addams Family Values, whatever, like I enjoy. But the thing with all those movies is all those sequels came out like maybe 2 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was cool. This worked. Let's do it again real quick. Not this has been sitting around for 15 years. Let's try again.
And here we are now. I think a week ago they announced that they're developing Wedding Crashers 2. Yeah. It's like it's too late. Just do something new. I'm all for some sequels.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like comedy sequels in general it's hard to do, and it's really hard to do when it's that much fun.
But I mean, it's like I said, I think it's the best of what we've gotten of those kind of sequels, and it's still like when it works, it really works. Kathy Bates is really good in it. That kid still cracks me up, even now. I mean, he has some great moments in it. But yeah, you can do worse. And then Edge of 17, I really liked. My one kind of complaint is she's kind of too unlikable. Like I feel like the trailer
Well, I
kind
know nothing about this movie.
of. Okay, I mean
I've never seen the trailer.
Oh really? Okay.
I know what's her Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
Isn't it? What is the movie?
I mean, she's kind of like a let's say like a angsty 17-year-old trying to navigate life and figure out boys and stuff. But she's a little bit too much on like the negative side, a little too unlikable, which is kind of the point. But I think they push it just a little too far, where you're kind of like, okay, just like get over your shit. Like it's not that bad. But I think the cast is great. Woody Harrelson's great in it. She's really good, despite my issues with the character itself. But it's worth seeing. It's worth checking out. It's solid.
Maybe not worth the acclaim that it's
Yeah,
gotten
I don't
so
think it's
far. It's like
I don't
one of
think
the
it's
best reviewed
amazing
movies
or
of the year.
anything, but it's solid. Oh, I saw Nocturnal Animals. Speaking of movies that I thought were amazing.
But I already forgot about.
Yeah. Well, that's been so long. I forgot. Yeah, it's just kind of that's great.
So what is Nocturnal Animals?
It's about a kind of a lonely housewife who's gotten this book from her like ex-husband that she hasn't talked to or seen in years, and so it's this parallel between the book she's reading and then kind of like what her life is. Amy Adams is terrific in it. Jake Gyllenhaal's terrific. Amy Adams is killing it this year. Between Arrival
always
and
kills it.
this, yeah.
Amy Adams, Jake Gyllenhaal. I've heard there's an actor in it that is like surprisingly supposed to be very good. Who's usually
Michael
not.
Shannon? No.
No, that he is he.
Yeah,
he's in that.
he's in it.
But
He's
there's
great.
some-
There's the Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
He's
supposed to be
very
good, and
Mhm.
he's almost never good. Let's be honest. He is a dull wet blanket in Godzilla and Age of Ultron.
That's right. I forgot he was in Age of Ultron. I still think of him as Kick-Ass, but
Right.
no, he's really good in it. The whole cast is great. It's one of the most intense films I've seen this year. Definitely seek it out if you can.
Very cool.
What have you been up to, Nick?
Well, funny you ask. So two things: video game and a movie.
Cool.
I guess we'll just stick on the movie train because you haven't talked about this. I saw Moana, the new Disney movie, new Disney animated film.
How was it?
Excellent. Really good. One of my favorite movies of the year.
Wow.
Far and away. Like, Disney is absolutely on fire.
They're on a roll.
I mean, we've talked about it because we've been doing the show over, like, Zootopia had come out. We talked about that being very strong. This might be their most all-around, strong movie in decades. Like, honestly, the music is fantastic. The character is great. Like, the character of Moana, the character of Maui, the one that The Rock voices, are both incredibly well developed, strong characters. The setting is great. The animation is breathtaking. And it has, like, awesome action. It has this, like, really cool set piece that is, like, they clearly watched Fury Road. It's like Disney's animated Mad Max Fury Road. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's awesome.
I'm in.
Like, if you watch this sequence and you don't think of Fury Road, like, you just will. But yeah, it's really good. It has everything going for it. It's like an instant animated classic.
So
do
you put this then at the top of like their recent stuff of like Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6, Zootopia, and all that stuff?
Yeah. No, I think that over the course of time, it definitely will still feel like this was
Nice.
Everything was like they built back up and then they made like this, and hopefully I don't know where they go from. I remember like when Frozen came out, hearing that Zootopia and Moana were in development. I have no idea what's up next for them. I really I don't know. But
Frozen.
I
I think there's a Frozen sequel, maybe.
I think they're developing that. Yeah, but I remember like going
Oh,
on.
you got Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph 2 is gonna happen. Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of lots of sequels and
Yeah, well, hopefully that works because I really like Wreck-It Ralph. But
yeah,
Moana, if you're a fan of animation, Disney animation, you should definitely seek it out. It's a very, very strong movie.
cool.
And then the other thing that I saw I started playing Battlefield 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get it. I
Same.
haven't yet.
Yeah. So I got it on Black Friday. It's one of the many things that I got on Black Friday that I'll be talking about, I'm sure, in the weeks to come on this. But it was the first one that I decided to boot up, mostly because I'd heard a lot about how the campaign is done in these little like vignettes.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, well, I don't have much time right now. It's a busy time around here, but I could play that. Like, it's not like you can just pick a beat through one campaign type deal. It's awesome. I mean, visually, we've seen videos, right?
Yeah.
And the game looks amazing and it plays amazing. But it's really cool because I feel like I haven't played like this is World War I, but like World War II games were huge for a while there, like really big, like with Medal of Honor took off, and then when Call of Duty was actually like
and kind of after Modern Warfare, like it was over.
Right, yeah, that was it. Like I feel like we didn't get many of these games, and it reminded me of like all the fun I had playing like Medal of Honor in those games. But it's really, it opens very powerfully with like the intro, like basically is designed like the very first part of the game. It's basically get to know the controls, but the point of it is like you are not supposed to survive this intro. Like you play all these different characters that die, and like it fades to black, and it's like you see like 1892 to 1912 or whatever. When they die, and then you go to somebody else that teaches you a different mechanic of the game. But then, like in between that, it's like telling you like facts and statistics about the war and stuff like that, and it's like really powerful stuff. And then the first, you can play the game in any order that you want to. And the first one that I chose, where you're playing a tank battalion or whatever. Really cool stuff. I'm excited to try out the multiplayer. That's really not what I get into it for, but some of that sounds nuts, like the 60 whatever multiplayer battles. But
so overall, worth getting, worth picking up.
So far,
worth getting it. Like if Black Friday and Cyber Monday, all that stuff's obviously over now. Worth getting at retail, or with a your Best Buy gamer,
maybe
discount or whatever.
Like if you can get a discount on it, but that's the thing. I feel like I don't think that there's much point almost ever in paying full price for a video game anymore. Like, is it worth the value? Sure, but just because
there's enough sales, and
this game had been out a month and it was already down to $35 on Black Friday. It's going to be down to that on Amazon soon.
Between Prime's 2-week thing and Best Buy's Gamers Club and all that stuff, there's always something
to games. But it does seem like I would, especially if you're going to really get into the multiplayer side of it, which I never will.
No, I won't.
Then it's definitely worth it. But yeah, it seems like it's definitely something that I had forgotten that I miss playing.
Cool.
Yeah. So you guys didn't see Moana. You didn't see that. None of us had done what the others did.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
That's what we're gonna. But now we know. Now we know.
Now we know what to go out and see or play or.
So that's what we're up to. We want to know what you've been up to. Tweet at us. I'm at Stonks.
I'm at Rich Belson.
I'm Mitchell.
You can write him a letter.
Yeah. The channel's on Twitter at OABeer_official. You can let us know also in the comments below. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/overabeer. Instagram is over_a_beer. And of course right here on youtube.com/overabeer. But that'll wrap things up for today. So until next time, drink up.
And butter me up.